Hi, welcome back to Far From Eden. I made a short video about this earlier today, and I wanted to tell a fuller story because as I was thinking more about it, I thought, I don't know, I think this is actually more meaningful, kind of like this story about the man at the post office and how we kind of have this man up thing because he just recognizes me every time I come in as somebody who sees men and sees what they're dealing with in this society. And anyway, so my doctor, health insurance company, the people that control your health wanted me to do a home health assessment. And I'm like, whatever it is. So I'm like, whatever it is. So they said, would you prefer a female or a male? And I was like, I paused because I was like, wait a minute. I used to say female. I know. I used to say I prefer a female doctor. I used to prefer female healthcare providers. And I would have said that, I don't know, a decade ago. I prefer a female. And I can't tell you why. That's the thing. It's like, I know I would have said it, and I know a bunch of women do. I prefer a female. But why? Do you actually think that guy is there's something gonna happen? You're so brainwashed. We don't think that. We don't think that's actually going to happen. But we're just conditioned to have that reaction. And so I took a pause because I don't know if I've been asked that in a really long time, personally, right? I certainly haven't operated like that. I haven't tried to just find female doctors. It's been actually kind of the opposite. But so I took pause and I thought, well, I'm not going to say female doctor, but I also didn't say I request, it doesn't matter, right? I decided to request a male provider. It's probably, I think he was either a physician's assistant or a nurse practitioner. For two reasons, at least. Two reasons that I thought of so far. One, that I thought, I know that a lot of these nurses and home care people, do this on contract and will pick up a job here or a job there. And I thought, wonder if it's like the females get all the jobs because all the females are requesting females and the females are requesting females for their older relatives. And I was like, I wonder if that's a thing. So I thought, well, we're not going to throw any more work that direction because, that's enough. It's off-sided and it's off balance enough now. So the other thing was I have come to realize over the past 7 years-ish, I mean, who's to say what I learned when over this journey, and I'm still learning every day. But I have learned that if I need to trust somebody with something really important and really detailed, and I personally am going to trust a man with that. Hear me out if you think I hate women or whatever, because I don't. But I think about one of the many interviews that Jordan Peterson did, especially when he was sort of still exploding. It was 2018, and he was trying to explain to people that these are not his feelings. This is what the data shows, not fuzzy data, real data. Women are more agreeable, men are more disagreeable, men are more violent when you compare them, to women on average. He was showing everyone how it really is. And he said, we have more in common than we have different. And I don't know, every day I'm kind of I don't know, we're really different. But he was explaining, if you look at the data and you look at intelligence, let's just pull a number. The 10 smartest people in the world are going to be men. But it's also a totally different trait the 10 most violent people in the world are also going to be men. Does that mean men are violent mostly? No, it doesn't mean that. But I'm just saying, if I had to pick like a fighter, like if someone was going to fight for me, Game of Thrones style, you name your fighter, you're going to pick a dude, right? Or you're going to pick, like, I'm in a fire and I need a firefighter. Am I going to pick a man firefighter or a woman firefighter? I'm going to pick a man firefighter. Just, weighing things up. So I look at it that way and I think, if I have to pick and someone's assessing me and I need to trust them as far as, marking everything down appropriately, if I have any questions, I'm going to pick a guy. So I did. And the day before, he called, introduced himself, told me he would be at my place between almost like a half an hour time frame. Maybe it was an hour, but before the company or whatever had said, between 12 and 4. And you're like, okay, I guess I'm not doing anything today at all, because just sitting around twiddling my thumbs waiting for, like, he's like a cable guy or something. So he called me the day before and was like between 12 and 1 or whatever it was, and I was like, all right, this is looking good so far. I get home from a previous appointment that I was thinking everything will work out well in my schedule. I'll do this, I'll get home, have a moment to take out the trash or run the vacuum, whatever I need to do. Healthcare nurse comes, and then boom, the rest of the afternoon to do other things. So I was like, this is going to work out perfectly. I pull up, I look over, I see a man kind of walking away from my front door, and there's other residences, but he's on the phone, and I overhear him like, yeah, I got here a little early, and I was like, this is my nurse. So I lean out the door, are you the nurse? It's hard to yell and sound polite at the same time, but when you have to project your voice, I'm like, I don't want to be like, are you the nurse? Like, no. You go to Panera or like anywhere where some females work and you just see yelling, everything, la, 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 and it's like, oh, I don't want to sound like that. So I'm like, are you the nurse? Yeah. I said, hi, I just got back from physical therapy, right? So he's like, I wanted to catch him when he was on the phone because he was already like organizing his next call and he was going to swing back. I was like, no, let's get this done. So he's like, oh, okay. So we went in my apartment and they, he started like, the blood pressure and all the things, right? And he's probably, if I had to guess, which I'm bad at guessing ages, but he was probably like, I don't know, 55. So I'm thinking Gen X, wedding ring, just like look like a family guy. If you were gonna, you'd just be like, this is a man with a family and a wife. He's probably been married like 25 years. And, I don't know if he's from my area, but I was just kind of like, it's so funny because women are like, I choose the woman. I'd rather have a female provider. And I'm like, this is a family guy right here. Like, he's polite, he's gentle, he's intelligent, he's organized like you would not believe. Anyway, so we get to the end and everything's all finished. He gives me my cutting board. What did I get? I got a cutting board and a tea towel. Okay, I gotta talk about the cutting board and the tea towel. He's like, here's your cutting board and your tea towel it's a gift for, doing this today. And I was like, oh, cool, because I'm kind of dorky. If this is your first time, maybe you don't know that about me yet, but if you've been here before, then I'm a giant dork. And so I was like, oh, this is so cool, because sometimes I didn't say this, but sometimes I get a little creeped out with my wooden cutting board because I'm like, how can I actually get this clean, if the wood is porous? And I know you guys are probably going to be like, oh, you're going to explain it to me, because I'm like, oh, and I mean, it's not like blonde is natural, so I think it's just the bleach. I think that's why blondes are dumb, because it's bleach and we've sniffed in too much bleach, but no. Anyway, so I liked my cutting board, and the tea towel is a true tea towel. My father's British, and I don't have a real tea towel. I have like regular kitchen towels, and you don't want that. So the tea towel is like a cheesecloth. It's perfect. And so I was excited about that. And then I promise I'm going to get back to the end of the story, but I have to tell you about the tea towel and the cutting board. So I was telling somebody else about the cutting board and the tea towel, and I said, yeah, it's so cool. And I was like, you know what though? I wonder if other women are like, what is this? What is this for? Now, probably a lot of them are older or whatever, that they're coming to, you know, do this health check. It's for people who have like serious diseases like MS or older and whatever it is. You know, they're coming to be like, have you had any falls recently? Knock on wood, I haven't had a fall in a while, so. But I don't believe in jinxies, but when I get cocky, that's when I tend to like not pay attention and end up tripping over something or whatever. Anyway, that's beside the point. So I was telling my friend that I was excited about this tea towel and this cutting board, and I was like, I wonder like if they'd even like it. You know, I'm surprised that they that they would give out such a sexist gift. And for those of you who are getting a translation, I am being sarcastic. I realize that some of this isn't translating because of tone of voice and everything, and if you're reading a translation, oftentimes if you're kind of like, what? It's probably my silly sense of humor being sarcastic. So this sexist gift, which of course it's not, but it reminded me of, do you guys see the original, not the original, but The Father of the Bride from like the 1990s with Steve Martin and whatever that girl's name is, who was the daughter, and then my mind is blanking on what the wife's name was. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Steve Martin, Father of the Bride. And anyway, so this would remind me of when the husband-to-be gives the bride, before they're married, a blender, right? He gives her this gift, and it's their, I don't know what the rules are, it's their marriage gift or whatever it is. And she's all excited because she's this cool architect, and soon they're going to move to Boston. They're all going to move to Boston for her job, or she and her husband are going to move to Boston for her new job because, you know, whatever. Anyway, so she opens it and it's a blender, and she has a complete meltdown, freak out. She's absolutely insulted. It's like she's never met him. She can't even believe this. So she's like, blah, 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 blah. And she goes home and she runs up the stairs and closes her door. I don't know if I'm remembering the details exactly, but, you know, at first, I mean, Steve Martin, the father, is kind of like, oh, good, because he didn't want his daughter growing up and moving away or whatever. But, you know, he loves his daughter, so he decides he's going to talk to her. And he's like, you know, he didn't mean it like that. He didn't mean it to be sexist. He doesn't see you that way. Sarcasm again. He just thought you might want to blend something. And you can kind of go, aw, you saved the day. There's no sexism here. But yes, there is. Because the fact that she would think that he would want to give her a kitchen appliance, therefore he sees her as a housewife, is not the problem. The problem is that a housewife is an insult. The problem is that the idea of, sorry, I didn't know what my dog was doing. The idea of staying at home, doing things in your kitchen, making, you know, baking, making meals, cleaning, like all that stuff, as if that would be an insult. That's the sexism. Anyway, I totally digress, but I wanted to talk about the Father of the Bride thing for a while, and this cutting board and tea towel reminded me. And also, I kind of played it back in my head, and I felt like he was a little like, here's your tea, like, it was very like, sorry, they make us give this to you. And I'm like, when you know what you're looking for, you can really see how careful the men have trained themselves to be. So careful. Just like, I'm not doing anything, you know, because they get accused right and left. Anyway, Kate, finally. So as he's getting ready to leave, I thank him, say, I hope you have a really good day. And I thanked him for his schedule, that he was, that he had called me the day before to say, this is when I'm going to be there, and that he was actually there early. I said, I so appreciate that. I like to be able to plan my day and have things organized. And I said, and honestly, that's why I told them I'd rather have a male provider, because I know that if I wanted organization and, punctuality and all the rest of it, and he starts laughing, but it's that laugh like, oh, I shouldn't be laughing. He starts laughing and he's like, I can't. I said, I know you can't, but I can. And I said, I just want you to know, like, it's appreciated. And thank you so much for being so organized and punctual. And anyway, so it was just funny because it was the same laugh that the guy at the post office said or had when I was in line, and that some chick from the back comes out who's like 10 years younger or 20 years younger than them, two men at the counters. And she comes out and she's like, I don't know, she was just like, are you keeping on top of everything out here or something like that? Like yes, like it's, and there was a line, and there was a third like station that was unstationed, it was unmanned. And she pops her head out like, and she sees the line. She doesn't go to the third station and try to take the pressure off of the line. No, she just says to them, hey, when you're done out here, will you go check the inventory in the other room? I'm sitting there and I'm seething because I've already seen the draft things, do the right thing, men. And I'm just like, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm going to explode in here. I'm going to start talking about men's rights, and so I held it together, and I walked up to the front, and I said, and that door was still open, so if she was listening, she could have heard. And I was like, yeah, it's a good thing she came out. Make sure you boys know what you're doing, right? It's not like you needed any help over there, but you just need to come out here and make sure the men folk are still toiling away. And I mean, that guy, the laughter, it was the same laughter. It was just coming from within, and it was just, you know what it was? It was a relief. It was a laughter, and it was like a relief on a pressure cooker. Because it was funny, but it was also like, oh my God, this is the stress I live with all the time, where the women are, and nothing's ever right, and do this, and they can't say anything. Anyway, so I was really happy that I was able to, even in a little teeny way. I don't know what kind of garbage this man puts up with on a daily basis. I don't know the people he works with and how he's treated, and how many times it's like he gets treated like he's a predator and an evil person because he's a man. Oh no, I don't want a man. Or maybe he shows up to people's houses and they're like, oh my God, you're a nurse? I thought it was going to be a woman. You can't come in my house. If you think that doesn't happen, then you're not paying attention at all. They've got women convinced that men are just evil monsters, especially ones that are a little bit paler, not true. And it hurts them, because that's not who they are. It hurts them. And so I just have seen how little things matter. When you show a man that he is seen and he is appreciated, it matters. It seems to matter. And because it's so many times throughout the day of their lives where they don't feel seen for who they are. They're a predator and a monster, and they are just, they're constantly criticized, and they literally just have to take it, until they become Michael Douglas's character from Falling Down, and they're just like, snap. But anyway, that was a good story today. And oh yeah, and my little dog Lola, she she does love men. So as we were coming to the apartment, because I was, I'd just gotten back, and so we're coming in, I said, I just want you to know I have a dog. She's really good. She's little. She doesn't know she's little. Grew up on a farm, so she thinks, if anything, she thinks she's one of the barn cats. So, it's fine. And he's like, okay. And sure enough, she was like, she didn't care that I was home. She's like, oh, it's the dude. You do the best scratches. And, and I remember my story from, I don't know how many, the horse show. So it was like, a week and a half ago, just a week and a half ago, I think. And I talked about how there was a horse and they're like, oh, she doesn't like men. And that was a whole thing. So Lola does like men. She seems to prefer them. Maybe she feeds off me. I don't know. But so I said, oh, she loves men. And it must be so weird to them. They must be like, they probably never hear that. But she does. So I thought, I'm not over here trying to like kiss up to men and like blow smoke up, you know what I mean? But they hear all the time, I'd rather have a female. She doesn't like men. Blah, blah, blah. They hear that all the time. I'm just trying to like, if there's something that's true that contradicts that baloney that they're saying about men are bad and men are this, whatever, I'm going to say the other thing if there's an opportunity, because it just seemed right to me. And it's like, it's such a hopeless situation for men. It's such a hopeless situation. I can't believe there's people on YouTube, trying to show guys like how to have game and how to like get dates and all. Like, that is not the crisis that is currently, it is a crisis for men where women are just like, the 4s and 5s are like, no, I've got to have an 8. So yes, that, I didn't mean to say that that's not a crisis, but the crisis is much, much bigger than this red pill only dating scene mentality. The people in the older millennial category, like people 35 and 35 through 60, those men are going through hell right now. It is my experience that if you scratch under the surface just a little bit, you will find that man is going through hell. One way or the other. He's either in the middle of a marriage where it's or she wants a divorce, or the divorce has happened, or his kids have been taken, or they're being alienated. It's somewhere in the process. It seems like almost everywhere. Or he's doing the happy wife, happy life bullcrap routine. It's what I see is that men are in some state of desperation in that age group right now, like 35 to 60. I don't think the women are doing great either, but that's not primarily what I talk about. But we have fallen away from what we all know. What is right and what is wrong has changed to be subjective. Things that were objective for millennia have become subjective. And when that happens, society is disordered. And when that happens, nobody's where they should be or doing what they should be. Everybody is just what you see right now. And that's my nutshell, because otherwise, people just say I'm preaching or whatever. But I can just say that our society is out of order, because there's no, as a newer friend used the phrase, the true north. Our society has lost its true north. So nobody really knows how to orient themselves. And I think whether you believe like I do on what we should be orienting ourselves towards and ordering ourselves by, you can probably at least admit there needs to be something, because whatever this isn't working. Things like marriage. When people started writing their own vows, I was young. I think I was still a teenager, and I was like, I understood, that's like, we're going to define our own marriage. And that sounds like, well, yeah, you should. But then, who's we? Who is it? Do you agree on all these terms? You need to orient it towards something outside of yourself. Something orders it from outside of yourself. And from the family builds out the society. And we just don't have that. And I know a lot of you guys totally get it. And I'm rambling on again. But I just think if it's so disordered this way, I could be nihilistic and just be like, well, what's the point? Not going to change anything. It's not going to matter. I agree. We are not changing this. This is going one way, and there's no turning around this ship. It would take something massive to roll back everything that we have undone. Like put back everything that we have undone. It's not doable. I don't think it's doable. But one person at a time. I don't know what this guy's situation is. I don't know how he's doing with his wife. I don't know if she maybe has a lovely marriage and lovely children and he's doing well. And if he heard this, he would be like, I have no idea what you're talking. Well, that's not true because he laughed pretty hard. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's true. Maybe wifey poo is talking about divorce, threatening things. It matters so much that I say something affirming that day. I want to be part of something that matters. Even if it's one comment to one man at a time, or a teeny tiny YouTube channel. I just think the little things there, it's not going to turn this ship around, but it might give that dude like a life preserver, or like a life-saving whatever. It might for him. So, and honestly, I guess we're chatting tonight, aren't we? Let's everybody get comfortable. No, just kidding. It's not going to be that much longer. But if I'm talking, look, I said it in another video. Like, I didn't know at one point, like, why I was even here. Actually, a lot of points along the way. When you get told at a young age, and you're a very physical person, and the worst thing you can think of is like not being able to use your legs, and then you're like 22, and they're like, yeah, you're going to be in a wheelchair in your future, probably in like 5 years. And it's aggressive and progressive, and you're not who you were. And, I got up to 240 pounds at one point. Taking the steroids, having hormone issues, like serious hormone issues all over the place. Was I eating too much? Yes. Yes, I was. Not 240 pounds worth, but I was. And I'm sure some of it was depression. That was diagnosis time. Then you cut to, 15 years later. God, it was only 15. Oh my God, it was only 15 years. 15 years later, I had been, doing my thing, still working with the horses, but in denial. Because I couldn't have done it without my sister, without my mom, without them, like doing a lot of the physical stuff, me doing it mentally. And so then when my mom got diagnosed with terminal cancer, I was like, I have to focus all of my strength and energy into taking care of myself when she's not feeling well, because she used to help take care of me at home. Like, I was too weak to brush my own hair or, do my own laundry. Like, with doing things in the barn, I didn't have enough energy to come back and do them at home. She was kind of like enabled me to do that. And then when she was losing her life, it meant that I couldn't do those things anymore. And so I focused everything on like taking care of her as she got sicker and taking care of myself in emergency mode. But then, when it comes time, and those of you guys that have been through it, like you're like, oh, this is a struggle. But then when cancer says, all right, I'm serious now. It does not take long. It doesn't take long. And then she was gone. I knew I had to sell where we were living. I knew I couldn't afford it on my own. Yes, I should have done it before she died. We had dogs from the farm. It was all feelings. Maybe someday I'll get into it if you guys want, but it was all feelings. But my whole point is I'm trying to paint a picture that I had my whole life, and it was a house of cards. And then when my mom died, there just wasn't, it was all over. And I honestly, I had been telling myself forever, like, I am alive to mentor these children and be a good example, etc., etc. I'd told myself that. Maybe some of it was true, maybe not. I know I should have been married and having babies, but I wasn't. And so when she was, really gone, I just was like, why am I here? And I hope you guys are sticking with me to this. And I thought to myself, well, it sure would be easier for me if I wasn't here. And I wouldn't have, physical pain every day of my life. But I had already made a decision, 15 years prior, that the life I have been given was not mine to take. And that as long as I'm here, it's for something, even if I don't know what it is. So I prayed. You know how you pray sometimes and it's like, this is a different prayer. And it's not even like your choice to make it a different prayer. It just is. And it was this level of, I am not fighting for my own agenda, ego, whatever. I am not out here trying to get, the next big award that a horse can win. And I say it out loud and it sounds ridiculous, but that used to be super important to me. Like it meant something. But that's, whatever it was. And that wasn't there anymore. And my mom wasn't there to take care of anymore. Nobody needed me. No one needed me at all, except for my dogs. They needed me. But really, I needed help with them. So that was really, stretching it a little bit. But I just prayed. I said these exact words. Because sometimes, you say something and you're like, this is weird, way to say it. I don't even feel like it came from me. But I said, Lord, take me where I am needed. I didn't say use me as you see fit. I didn't say that. I didn't say let your will be done. I'm only saying that because that's usually the type of language we use when we're saying these things, when we're submitting finally to God's will and God's purpose. But he kind of already says what he wants from us in the Bible. I don't think he's like, and you need to be a real estate agent. It's not the point. I said, take me where I am needed. And if I wasn't concerned about privacy and safety and all of those things, I could tell you guys, he has taken me places. I have seen the Pacific Ocean and I have seen the Atlantic Ocean. And I have lived, in several states in the middle. Since my mom passed. And I never would have thought that. And when I was in these places, I saw examples. There's a video. Go back to my video, 80-year-old feminist. I was like, what is this? That was a discovery I got to make, that there are 80-year-old feminists. And yeah, I get it. There was that type of feminism back there. But these 80-year-olds are serious about it now. These are man-hating, I can't even think of all the insults, but they're man-hating feminists living amongst us who are 80 years old. And I just was like, So that was one example that I can talk about. And a lot of them were other examples, like married couples and what the men are going through. I learned about married MGTOW, for heaven's sakes. And then I think I saw it. I was like, oh my God. And I talked to somebody and they're like, oh yeah, there's married MGTOW. And I was like, what? Anyway, I said to God, take me where I'm needed. And how did we get talking about this? Because that guy was appreciated today. So no matter what he thinks about when it's quiet, no matter what is heavy on his heart or anything, today he was appreciated. I am not saying that I know what it's like for you men to have your heart completely broken, stomped on, set on fire, and thrown off a cliff by a woman who did a 180 on you, and then have your children stolen from you. I don't know what that's like. I don't know what it's like. But I know a little bit about what it's like to lose everything you thought you had and be in a place where you just feel like you have no choices and no options. And that you're not even through it. You'll never actually be, like, I get it. I at least get that. So when I tell him, when I express to this nurse practitioner man that he's appreciated, it means I'm here to do that. That's work I can do. I can do that. I need my brain. I need to set my camera up. I need to have the energy to do this on YouTube. But if there's, a man at the post office or a man who's a nurse practitioner, I can tell him. So, anyway, it took me, 40 minutes to tell you a story that takes like 5 minutes, but I don't know, this is probably the reason why I need to start doing lives, because I just have a lot to just talk about. And enough stuff happens in the news that, I have comments about it and takes on it and questions for you guys too, because I learn from you guys and you have excellent feedback. So this is definitely like two-way, So I'm moving towards that. I'm shy. So that's honestly the reason I haven't done it. It was like for that first time where I totally broke down and cried, which I almost did this time, but I didn't. So I guess I'm kind of practicing, just keeping it like, relaxed. Probably, and I'm talking about it now to hold myself accountable, because I'm like, oh, I talked about it, now I have to do it. It's a trick I do to myself. So I'm thinking like the first live I do, I'll probably just, read some of the comments that maybe not everybody has seen that I just, really hit me, or I feel like definitely need to be seen by more people. Then that might be a good way, and it makes me feel less nervous because it's more shared with you all. So rather than just me, here's my presentation, it's like it's a little, do I have anything interesting to say kind of a deal. So anyway, it was good chatting, and I hope you all are well. It is a Tuesday evening, so we're just in the beginning of the week, but I hope you're hanging in there, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good night.